Hey guys, this is your shop teacher. Today we're going to be looking at the basics of fiberglass repair. Alright, so we are going to be working on this 14-foot Allison race boat that's behind me. We are specifically installing this piece of marine plywood. So it's 1/4-inch marine plywood, and we're going to install it at the rear of the boat inside to support the fuel tank. So I'm going to be going over some of the principles and fundamentals in fiberglass repair, adding structure to a boat, that kind of thing, and some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So I've got this piece of wood. The issue with a freshly cut piece of wood is the sharp edges. So resin and fiberglass doesn't like to stick to sharp edges. So I like to chamfer everything. So I'm going to use a grinder. To chamfer the edges and just round out any areas that I think are a bit too sharp for this project and for fiberglass and resin and everything to stick. So I take my grinder, put on a dust mask. Okay, now we're going to move over to the boat, and I'm going to show you guys how this piece installs in the back, and we're going to talk about some prep work that needs to be done inside the actual boat. All right, so we're inside the boat here. This is the piece that we just prepped. It slides into place towards the back of the transom in here. So these areas along the sides here have paint on them. So what I need to do is remove that paint to get down to the bare fiberglass. All right, so let's talk about some of the materials that we're going to be using for the next steps of the project. So we've got some fiberglass mat. Okay, so this is strands of fiberglass, not necessarily woven together, but this is what it looks like. Okay, so that's fiberglass mat, and I'm working on cutting into strips this fiberglass so I can use it to tab that wood structure into the existing boat. So pretty straightforward. Just going to use some scissors. I'm going to cut another strip off of here, and I probably should be good for the rest of this project. So you can use any scissors will really cut this. I find kitchen scissors work the best until my wife is looking for them and comes out to the garage and gets upset with me because I took the scissors out of the kitchen. But anyway, that's usually how it goes at my house. So I've got a couple strips of fiberglass I'm going to use, like I said, to tap in once we get over to the boat end. So I'll just put these aside. So some of the tools that we'll use, okay, so we've got a paintbrush, paint tray that's been well used, and we've got a roller. And generally I like to use foam rollers for this kind of a job. But I ran out for my ran out of my rollers. So we've got some of these small painting rollers which will definitely do the job as well. All right, so that on here. Spins freely, fits in the tray, good. All right, so then I'm going to talk about this product here. So what we've got here is epoxy resin, okay? So this is mass epoxies, and it is very strong, all right? I find any repairs that I make, I use this because it is strong, but also because it doesn't stink like polyester resin, okay? So I'm in a school right now, and if I was to pull open a can of polyester resin, I would be getting all kinds of complaints from the rest of the school members, the staff members. They'd be coming to my shop and saying, "What is that disgusting smell?" Well, mass epoxies isn't really an issue in terms of the odor, okay? But you still have to be careful with it and wear gloves and protect yourself as well. All right, so I'm going to put my gloves on. Nitrile gloves, latex gloves. I find nitrile hold up a little bit better than latex, but either one will do the job. Okay, so what we're going to do is just mix these two products together in the paint tray. So this is the actual resin, and then this is the hardener. So this being a smaller bottle, the way it works is you put twice as much of the resin in as the hardener. So 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. So I'm going to mix that up, and then we'll be ready to do some fiberglass work. So we're looking at tying this piece in now, and what I'd like to do first is seal the bottom of it with epoxy. So I've mixed up a batch of epoxy here, and the nice thing about this is it has a pretty long working time, whereas polyester resin, it doesn't give you a lot of time to work with. So this has quite a bit of working time, which is going to help us for this project. So I'm going to take this piece of wood here and try not to spill the resin. Find a place here to work with it. And I'm just going to seal this up. First things first. All right, so I've got that sealed up now on the bottom. And what I'm going to do now is just coat the areas that I want this to stick to. So I'm going to go in here and just do these areas here with the resin. Next thing I want is to put a strip of fiberglass right down the center of this along here. So the middle of that will tie in to the boat. So I'm just going to roughly cut a piece here. And now here's the process. It really is most important when you're tying in fiberglass to any material. It's called wetting out. Okay, so basically getting the material wet enough so that it sticks. I know what you're thinking, Mr. Muir, you should have used the foam rollers. They work better. You're right. I'm a little bit regretting this right now, but you get the idea. It's the same idea here. I'm wetting this out. Pretty satisfied with that. So now I can take this piece here and I can install it. Slide it right in place, just like so. Beautiful. All right, so now also have to tie in the sides of this platform here for the gas tank. So take some of the material that I cut, measure it out approximately what I need, cut it. Okay, and a little hard for you guys to see that side, so I'm going to demonstrate on the other side. Make sure I got the right piece. Yeah, it's this guy. Fold it in half. Right, so I have to put some resin on this particular area here, and then I'm going to place this in here. And you can already see it kind of sticks in there fairly well. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to wet that out, and I won't bore you with the other side. I'm going to do it, and then I'll kind of show you what the results are. So wet this one out. Make sure we got make sure it's positioned properly. Lots of resin. Tab it in place. So you can see kind of the result of that there. So keeping in mind, no fiberglass repair is necessarily a one-step operation, okay? I'm just tabbing this in place, and then when I come back from the weekend, I'm going to check out the strength of it, see how the repair ended up, and then I'll definitely be putting another layer of cloth or mat in there to give it additional strength if I feel it's necessary. All right, so I'm just going to finish up the other side here, and then we'll show you the finished results in a minute. All right, so here's the project at this point. So you can see what I've done, tied in those edges as well as the center. And then the other thing I did was seal the top and all the way around the edges. So that's that completed fiberglass repair. And when it dries, I'll take a look at it and see if there needs to be any more fiberglass added to give it the strength that's required.